Hey guys, my name is Bando, this is Brexit Bando, and my dislike of Mark 10 Tacticus armour and the Primaris Marines is no secret. And yet, I quite like Captain Centos. Captain Centos is a limited release model that was for store anniversaries and birthdays and just recently went up for sale, and is gone already. And this is the issue I want to talk about. This model is nothing special. It's a captain with Power Fist and Bolter. This model exists already as a regularly available unit, but because it is slightly posed differently, has slightly different aesthetics, and is a limited miniature, it is considerably more desirable. Now, I understand that. I get it. There have been limited edition models for as long as Games Workshop has existed, realistically. There have been Games Day models, store anniversary models, models you could only buy if you worked for Games Workshop, such as the Ogre Slaver. And, you know, these have varying cult followings around online. And that's fine. I get that, you know. A limited edition model is a draw, you know. Oh, I don't think I'm going to go to that event. Oh, wait, there's a limited edition model. Actually, maybe I will go because I quite like that. I get it, I do. And you know what? While I could quite easily sit here and rag on Games Workshop and tell them that it's all their fault that this model is unavailable and people can't get it because they decided to FOMO it and didn't want to produce it in numbers, that's not the problem. The problem is the people who want this model and have far too much money. Now, I am jealous. I'm very jealous of people who have far more money than I do. I mean, it would be anyone who says otherwise probably is lying. But my issue here is that this model is widely unavailable to a lot of people. Reddit, the forums have been filled with people going, did anyone get a spare? Has anyone got one for sale? I couldn't get in there. I got in just like 10 minutes after opening and they were all sold out. Okay, yeah. Scalpers were there in force. They bought lots of them. And it would be very, very easy for me to come along and simply blame the Scalpers for this model disappearing because, okay, yeah, Scalpers are kind of scummy. I get it. But Scalpers would only buy things and sell things if there was a market for it. And there is a market for it. And that's the problem. You see, supply is an issue Games Workshop knows very, very well. They control supply, more or less, and they can limit their supply and artificially make it so that the demand is much, much higher. And then the problem we have here, other than me accidentally doxing myself, is that there is a demand. And there are people out there who are going to pay £100 for this model. Now, yes, these are all the prices people have put out there, and it's not necessarily accurate to what people have actually paid. However, if you filter this by sold, which you can do, you will find that people have been paying these prices for this model. If you didn't get your hands on this, don't blame the Scalpers. Don't blame Games Workshop for not blame Games Workshop for not producing enough of it. This should be a regularly available model. It's far better than any of the other Space Marine captains, in my opinion. Blame the guy who thinks it's no problem that he buys this. You know, those people that don't care because it doesn't affect them personally. Those guys who their hobby budget is so astronomically higher that it doesn't occur to them that their actions are hurting others. Now, I've got no problem with people having money. Anyone who has spent any time talking to me knows I am avidly anti-communist, anti-socialist, and I am not a person that wants to put my hand into someone else's pocket and take what is theirs that they have earned. Okay? My issue comes from people who are so ignorant that their situation is abnormal. Okay? Now, I have a friend who is unemployed, and quite rightly so, when, things come up about money, very regularly he discusses the cheapest option. He unfortunately is a long-term sick, so he can't work, so he is on benefits, as it were. And we talked about buying tea. He likes Yorkshire tea. It's about £3 a box, but he's going to go and walk all the way back to a different supermarket to buy their brand tea because it's okay and it's half the price. But to me, I just grabbed the Yorkshire tea for him. So, I don't just sit there and go, I'm just going to buy this tea because I can afford it. I don't care if anyone else can. No, I get it. I understand that our situations are wildly different. I'm still going to help my friend out, though. And this situation, and it is a bit of a stretch, I'll agree. You know, it's a miniature, it's not food and drink, it's not life or death. But there are people out there who, their actions and their spending habits negatively affect everyone else. You see, if we've got 5 people who can only spend £10 a month on their hobby, and one guy who can spend 50, GW doesn't care. They'd rather deal with one guy who buys 50 quid's worth of stuff than 5 people who spend a tenner. If we all work together and refused to accept this as the norm, if you ostracise those people you know who buy this thing, and I'm sure you know someone who does, you know, if you tell them, mate, that was fucking stupid, sorry, you shouldn't have purchased that, all you're doing is reinforcing their behaviour. And make them think, actually, no, I won't buy that next time because it is a bit scummy, even though they can afford it. The scalpers won't buy it. The scalpers won't buy it. And we see what happens when the scalpers don't get their way. You know? Normal people get to buy their stuff. And that's what you want. On top of this, I would, if you weren't able to get this model, strongly recommend a polite email to Games Workshop's customer service and tell them, hey, this is not acceptable. Not in today's day and age, that a limited item is restricted to a physical location. The amount of threads I've seen around the internet where people have just been like, I haven't been to a Games Workshop store since before COVID. I don't like going into my local Games Workshop store. I don't like being around the staff. My own local Games Workshop store has 2 people working in it. A manager who is unbelievably smug, who I can't stand the sound of his voice because he's just a Games Workshop manager. You know what I mean when I say this. And the other guy looks like he's about to Kurt Cobain himself across the ceiling. Every time I walk past him, I want to do the same. He's so miserable. Now, he may be going through something, and hey, buddy, if you need help and, you know, you hear this, go and ask someone, come and talk to me, I'm more than happy to talk. But still, oh my god, do I never want to go into a Games Workshop store. They smell, they're cramped, the staff are aggressive, I hate going into a GW store. On the flip side, my friendly local game store, you walk in and the owner looks up, nods, and goes back to reading his phone. Because he knows I know what I'm after. And I'm happy to go in, pick up what I want, hand it to him, he scans it, we say good afternoon, and I leave. But a model like this should just be available online to everybody now. There's absolutely no reason for it to be limited to anywhere. I get having a limited edition model at like Warhammer World because it's a big deal, but still, this sort of thing, it needs to stop. But more importantly, we need to stop our own community allowing the scalpers to dominate this, because it will always happen and it will only get worse. Because the more people see that they can make money off of this, the more people are going to try and get into it. Everyone is looking for a side hustle nowadays. And if you manage to get one of these, I'll be brutally honest, stick it on eBay and sell it for 100 quid. There's no reason to keep it. Sell it on eBay for 100 quid and buy 2 or 3 boxes of other models that you actually want, and pick this up for £3 off of a recaster in 6 months' time. That's it. That is the best thing you should do right now. Anyway, this miserable rant has been brought to you by Breakfast with Bando. As always, I appreciate everyone who watches these videos, and if you are not buying this and you want to buy some real stuff, feel free to use my code JAM737 over at Element Games to double yourself some reward points. Get enough of them, you can end up buying stuff for free. Alright guys, have a great day, good luck with next week, bye bye.